Welcome to Ideas to Reality Project Episode 4. If you haven't watched this before, we interview entrepreneurs, brands, musicians, athletes, pretty much everybody, and we find out how they turn their ideas into reality. In today's episode, we have Stephen Arthur. He's a fashion designer and he does a lot more. He's from Birmingham, and wait till you hear his story. It's crazy. So make sure you stay tuned for this one. Welcome to Ideas to Reality Episode 4, and today we have Stephen. Been waiting to get you here for a while, so thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. So obviously tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a fashion designer.
Yeah.
Originally, I'm from Birmingham, and I design men's and women's wear clothing. And I also do fashion consultancy, where I support the endeavours of up-and-coming fashion brands and established fashion labels as well.
Okay, so how long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing it for around 6 years now. So yeah, it will be 6 years I've been doing it for.
So you're in the game, you know, this ain't new to you, this is...
It ain't new at all. I'm in it deep.
So how did it all start, man? Tell me about, how did you start from the beginning, how did you turn your ideas into reality?
Well, to tell the truth, fashion wasn't really on my mind. I actually started in computer programming and software development, where I used to like build computers and build software and do coding.
Yeah, so you're techie, yeah?
Yeah, I was more tech back then. I even studied at university, did work with Microsoft in Germany, all this kind of stuff. And then after that, I think when I got back from England and I finished my degree, I was in the school, I was teaching kids. Yeah. So I used to be a teacher for a few years. And then...
So you've done a lot, man, like this, I mean, yeah, so you've gone from, so you've been in, you went to university, you did technology and whatnot.
Yeah.
Then you travelled also with that work.
Yeah.
And then how did you get into the teaching?
Well, I was originally an ICT teacher.
Yeah.
Well, ICT technician.
Yeah.
And then I did something called the Graduate Teachers Program, where I had to study being a teacher in the school for a whole year. Okay. So I had to quit my job as an ICT technician to become a teacher. And then they kind of created a job role where I was teaching ICT to primary school kids from age 5 to 11.
Okay, so and then, from then, how did it get from where you are now?
Well, I always liked art, and I think that's where it stemmed from, was the fact that I enjoyed art a lot. And on my free time, after work or on the weekends, I used to like just sketch. I just enjoyed it. It was time for me to like it was a peaceful place for me where I could just draw and just, get all my ideas out there. But fashion still didn't click with me, and the more I was drawing, like I used to do part-time work at my grandparents' bar. They used to have a pub. Okay. And I used to just sketch there when the pub was really quiet. Yeah. And my mum will, every time I threw away a design, my mum will always open it up, or my dad, and we're like, you know what, you should keep it, let me put it up. And they made a collage on the pub wall, and the customers would look and say, oh, I like that, or oh, I'd wear that, and this and that, and it still didn't hit me. And then like a fashion designer came into the pub one day and she said, you know, you should go into fashion design, you should try it out. But I still didn't take it seriously. I was like, if I was going to do anything in art, I thought probably go into tattoo art or something like that, because I love tattoos. But somebody told me to do a design for them, and I think it started from there, where I actually sketched the design, and then it kind of turned into something physical, which we're actually wearing, and that's where it started to build up. Okay, so would you say it more started from a passion? So you had a hobby, you were interested in? It was a hobby. I've been drawing for such a long time. So, and for it to transpire into like a career, I think that's that was like the shocker for me, because it was something that I always took for granted. It was just something that I did on a, you know, when I had time to myself. Because it's like, that's when I like really get to be expressive, and you know, I can be my own.
So tell us about Stephen Arthur, the brand. Like, tell us where you are now, what you've been doing. Like, explain, because I think you've so far you haven't really told us what the brand. Like, you've done a lot. I know that. Then. So you need to tell us, like, what have you done, like, from where you are.
Okay, then the way that Stephen Arthur actually formed was through a competition that I did a few years ago. That was with ITV and John Lewis. Everyone was telling me to go on to do this competition, and I just fobbed everyone off. I was like, I'm not having it. I'm not interested. I'm not going to do it. So my mum was like, Stephen, you've got to try this out. My grandmother was like, Stephen, my dad, and even the teachers, my colleagues at school were telling me, there's this competition that I think you should apply for. And it was to do like a party dress for Christmas. And I can tell you, it took me 4 minutes, because I love sketching already, just to do a quick design, talk about it, and I submitted it to ITV.
You know, when you submitted that, did you think, was it a thing that's like, I'm just going to do it to get everyone off my back, or was it just, did you think, okay, this is up to the level that I can get it to, like?
You know what, I was thinking, after like the 4th person saying, you've got to try it out, I was like, nothing gained, nothing ventured. And it might push me in a direction that I don't really know about, or it might expose me to new things. And that's what it did. Like, I remember it really well. Like, I think my car was broken then. And I was taking the number 101 bus to town, and I got a phone call, and they were like, my name's Sarah, I'm from the ITV studios, and would like to invite you for an interview. And I thought it was one of my friends, like putting a prank on me, because it sounded like her. I was like, stop messing around with me. And then I hung up.
For real?
Yeah, and then she called back again, and was like, stop pranking me. And I was like, I'm being serious. Like, we want to invite you to London, like for next week. Can you come?
So what was going through your mind then? Like, when that's processed?
I just didn't know what to think. I was like, whoa, this is serious stuff. Like, they want me at the studios. And then there was like a lot of people that applied, and that out of like the thousands of people that applied, it got reduced to 20, got reduced to 5, and then from 5, never in a million years did I think I was going to win it. And actually won the competition, where my items got sold and distributed in John Lewis stores nationally. And we sold out within the first week. We turned over £250,000 in sales off just the red dress alone. It was a big thing.
So was you shocked? Was your parents shocked? Because they're the ones, I mean, from the start, you saying your parents were pushing you, everyone was pushing you around you. Were they shocked?
Yeah, everyone was, you know what, everyone was in, like, because it's never kind of happened before, like it was something alien to them, like, okay then, how is he on ITV? You know, like every morning, like, it was like, it was a little bit of a shock to them, especially to the people around me, because it's like, they knew that I liked art, but they never thought that I was going to take it this far to go there. But I just remembered that when everything was promoted, and when they released the red dress in John Lewis stores, I just remembered looking outside the Oxford Street windows and thinking, I've got to take a shot at creating my own company. I've got to try it out. Like, what have I got to lose, really? I think that's when I noticed how to do it. I really remember that day. I was just staring at the window like, I can do this. I think I can do it.
So what's your next steps then?
After that, I got back home, and I already had like experience in doing business before. So doing the whole incorporation phase wasn't really an issue for me. And because my family came from a really business orientated background, where everybody's self-employed, like it was kind of an easy transition for me to actually go into business. So I was still working at the school, and I was working on the business part-time until it was at a state where I was reducing my hours and days at the school to actually focus on my business. And in 2013, we actually fully incorporated Stephen Arthur. And that's when we took it to levels.
So where are you now? Like, are you only stuck in the UK, or?
No, actually. So we've over the past few years we've been doing so many big collaborations. So we've done collaborations with the ambassador of Sony, Sony Xperia, where I had to promote the innovation of technology and mix it with fashion.
Okay.
And also from there, I did a collaboration with Live Nation, where I worked with the wireless and I got to promote my garments to different artists, such as you've got Pharrell, Kanye West.
Did you meet all these people?
Yeah.
Mad.
Ella Eyre. Oh, she's amazing. Who else? Oh gosh, there's a good few people, you know. Azealia Banks, Iggy Azalea. I was offered to do a tour collection for Azealia Banks, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Robin Thicke, Sean Paul.
So these are big stars you're coming across. Like, how are you holding yourself around these people? I mean, like, these are A-list.
Oh my God, I was like, you know what? In all fairness, I must admit, I wasn't really starstruck with anybody there as much, because I felt like I've known them already, because I see them so many times on TV.
Yeah.
Sean Paul, I felt like he was like one of the customers that came into the pub. The way that he was vibing with everybody. It was like everybody felt. The only person that really stood out for me, I must admit, which shocked me, was an artist called Rally Ritchie.
Okay,
he's a UK-based artist. He's in the Game of Thrones. Okay. So he plays like one of the guardsmen for like Queen Cersei, not Cersei. Oh God.
I watch, you know, I'm a Game of Thrones fan, you know, but I don't.
And the Queen with the white hair, like he's like one
Khaleesi.
of Khaleesi.
Oh yeah, I know.
So he's the guard,
I know you're talking about. Yeah.
And he's the only one that I got really gassed over, and because I'm a really big fan of his music, and I just didn't know what to say to him. Yeah. But apart from that, everybody else was cool.
Mad. So you've been in like some real high-profile situations and stuff like that, man.
Definitely.
Like, and it's your brand that stuck you there. Clothes,
yeah.
Like, could you imagine that? Like, would you imagine that? Like,
no, I think. But to tell the truth, it's definitely like you've got to be persistent with like what you want. So it's like when you stick to it, just go at it, keep on going, keep knocking down doors. And the person you actually set this thing up with like, we actually built a good relationship with each other.
Yeah.
And he knew what I wanted to do. And it's like I already gave him, like he said that, you know, I could probably do you backstage in the wireless. And I was like, I was on his case 24/7, like, you know, even when he forgot, I was like, remind your boss that I want to be in the back as well, in backstage, and he made it happen. So you've got to be persistent, because, you know,
you got to stay on it, innit? Like you clearly have a vision of what you want to do, and when you have intention, you're more likely to get there rather than just being a bit just like, I hope this happens. Okay, so what's been your biggest challenge so far?
Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about life? Is life in general life?
Yeah, I think it's just hard to find that balance of business life and personal life, and especially when you're in the world of being an independent business person. Yeah. It's really hard to grasp that. So balance is so important. So it's over the past few years, I'm still struggling now to balance my business life with personal life. So getting that balance is really important, especially in fashion, because the industry is very demanding, depending on what you're doing in it. If you're doing fashion design, it's so demanding, and it's very rare that you get, you know, a good amount of time for yourself, because it's so fast. Yeah. Things happen really
So when you say life balance, you mean like socialising with friends or family?
Socialising with friends and family, doing the things that you want to do. Yeah. And it's really hard. It's like you can't let you've got to be in control of your company. You can't let your company control you. Yeah. And there's been various occasions where, you know, we've had no choice to do it because we have to do it, or the company might go a different way or a different angle. So you've got to keep in control of it constantly. Yeah, so you've got a big responsibility. Huge responsibility. So you've got to kind of decide which one has to take. Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Yeah. So it's trying to get that balance, and you're still trying to find that balance. Oh, yeah, all the time. I don't think you'll ever stop finding a balance until you're worth billions and billions, I guess. Is it worth it, would you say? It is. The only reason is because there's certain elements of running the company which I don't think I'd necessarily do if I didn't run that company.
Okay.
So, you know, doing things like the wireless and, you know, going to the mobiles and, you know, traveling to Hong Kong to do work with a different fashion company. Those things are stuff that I'll always remember. That's a good accolade to have, like, for me to, you know, to have travelled to these places and enjoy doing what I'm doing. Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely awesome.
Man. So, what would you say your biggest achievement is then so far? And we've gone from one end to the other now, so what's your biggest achievement?
Oh, it's going to sound really corny.
Oh, you got to be honest. Go on. Like, there's no right or wrong. It's whatever you think of it. You don't have to be one.
The biggest achievement so far,
yeah,
is knowing my value. I think I spoke to you about this before.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't recognise my value for such a long time.
When you say that, let's break it down. Like when you say value,
self-worth. So it's really, I think it's really important for everybody. It's easy for me to hype somebody up, but when it comes to hyping yourself up, it's a hard thing for people to do. And that's something that I've kind of praised for last year and this year, is the fact that I've acknowledged how far I can take myself, how far I can push myself mentally.
Yeah.
And I find it astonishing because I didn't recognise that before. I didn't recognise, you know, the power that I had.
Yeah, I mean, because you seem like it, like from what you told me, you definitely achieved a lot. You don't seem like you seem like a confident person. So, I mean, like, what is that? Is that what you put on when you go to? Is that your work or is it you in general? Is that you now? Was you like that before?
Yeah, I think I was like that before. But it was. I think there's always been elements of doubt with me, like, probably my clothes aren't good, or you know, probably. You know, I'm not doing certain business practices right and stuff like that. And I've been doing over and the above for such a long time, and that's always been a good graft of mine, but I've always looked over it, I've never noticed it. And for me to have established that, like, within myself and know that, whoa, Stephen, you've done so much over the past few years, like, give yourself a pat on the back.
Yeah.
Like, I've never done that before. So acknowledging that, and then, you know, saying, obviously the bull ring as well, like opening up a store in the bull ring, that was an amazing moment. But still, it's like there's more to do.
Do you feel that? Because I understand that, because obviously, and I set high targets for myself also. And when even though you're doing like big things like this, they seem like small achievements compared to what you're aiming for.
Exactly.
So you fail to acknowledge what you actually do sometimes, and that can be dangerous.
Definitely.
Because you just think.
Yeah, because it's like, it's not good enough. I mean, I remember when I opened up the store in Sweden, I was like, I need to do better than this. Like, you know, what am I doing? Like, and it's like, I didn't give because I was working constantly, I didn't give myself the time to give myself credit for what I've done. And that's something that a lot of people need to, it's important for entrepreneurs to do, like to sit back and just to reflect on what you've done.
Yeah. And
just think, you know what, I've made huge strides. I've done so much different things and I've improved a lot on the way that I conduct business, on the way that I do certain things. Like, you've got to really take that all in, because you just won't know the next moment when you'll be able to do that again. And that's one thing that I'm glad I've done. I've taken a break out, and I'm just celebrating the fact of what I've done. And it's like, I want to do that now before, you know, it goes all crazy again. So
I think that's definitely right, man. I definitely agree with you on that one. So that's been your biggest achievement so far. What would be your advice for like the next generation coming up? Even what would be the advice to tell yourself when you're the younger you? What would you say?
Have patience.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's a. I know that, like, probably a lot of people say it, but coming from like real experiences, mistakes are like amazing things.
Give us an example, one. You got to give us an example from now.
Okay, then. So, I shouldn't even say it. They might sue me.
Okay, don't say that.
No, I'm going to say it anyway. I'm just going to say A company, A company and B company kids.
Okay.
So, okay then. So, like, I think it's important, if you're a creative, it's important to have business acumen to back it up. A lot of creatives fail because they don't have the business experience. They don't know about, you know, going through contracts and legalities. They don't know about the basics, you know, in regards of taxes. And so all of that is so crucial in running the business. And when you're an independent creative, it's 90% business and 10% creativity. You rarely get the time to be creative. And when you do get that 10%, just cherish it. But apart from then, like, going back to the story, I didn't read through my contract properly.
Okay.
It was a very big contract, and I just didn't read through it. I just browsed through it, and I did everything verbally, which I shouldn't have done. But you know, we agreed over things verbally, and I didn't overlook the contract, and it costed me. It would have costed me thousands of, like, a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of grandkids. Lots of money. It would have cost me a huge amount of money, and I think there and then I learnt my mistake. And I was like, I rectified it and I prevented that mistake from happening, where I got a lawyer involved, somebody a junior lawyer who can provide me with legal support and advice and steer me in the right direction. Ever since then, I've looked over my contracts so thoroughly, it's unbelievable. Anything that I do which is huge or big, if it's any subcontracts or contracts between me and another client, or anything of that sort, even if it's for a lease for a store, you know, you've got to be really thorough. You've got to read through all those terms and conditions, and you know, think to yourself, can I adhere to these terms and conditions? Seek legal advice as well. Certain things that I didn't do. Accountancy as well, keeping up to date with bookkeeping, it's incredibly crucial. It's like you're not just a designer anymore, you're a business person. And that's something that I always bout into the people that I take on.
I mean, like I said, these things ain't taught in school and stuff like that. Like, so, I mean, unless you have, I mean, there's the internet. So, I mean, you can make it your business to find out kind of thing.
To an extent, but I think it's really important that it is taught in school. I didn't get that taught in school, but having the family unit around me, it was a little bit more easier for me. Like, I'd be like, oh, I didn't do this, or there was a time when I didn't file my company's accounts in time, and I was like, I didn't do it, and my grandfather was like, why don't you do it? That's basic, you should know how to do this.
Well, you're lucky enough to have that, but what I get in front is it the people that don't have that around them, that network around them.
Definitely.
What advice would you say to them?
You know what? I think in this day and age, there is so much support for young people who want to start their business to get that support. There's so many different business groups and like social workshops where like young people can actually study free of charge on how to run a company and how to run a business. All of those resources, even though it wasn't back in we didn't have those resources back in my time. I'm still young, but we still didn't have those resources. It's until now that they're starting to implement those in schools, which is amazing, but we didn't have that, and my parents didn't have that really either. Everything was done kind of themselves.
On the job, learn on the job kind of thing.
Yeah, I kind of learned as I went along myself.
But like I said, it's a gift with a curse.
Definitely.
You learn, you got burnt, but for that, you will know the repercussions of what can actually happen if you don't do it. So you're more likely to make sure it don't happen.
Don't be afraid to get burnt, because it's like you're only going to retaliate from it. Like it's just a burn, and trust me, it's gonna get harder. And the things, if it even comes back to you, you know how to handle it better again, and it's not going to be anything the next time. It's like working out, innit? It's like you're pushing weights, and then the next time you push weights, it's a little bit more easier and easier. You know, it's one of them ones, and it goes the same with business as well.
Okay then, so moving on from that, what would you say has been your biggest inspiration today? Who's been your biggest inspiration, or what has?
It's so current, but Black Panther, oh my gosh.
Fresh. You know what, you can't even talk about that too much because I haven't seen it, so.
I've got to, you know, we're in the interview now, so I've
got to be careful because if you we're going to put this interview out and people might not have seen it yet. So if you're going to say something, do not ruin it, because I don't want the channel to go down because you let the cat out of the bag, Stephen. So like, I'm going to try my best to swerve around it. Okay, there's certain elements of that particular movie that's just inspired me. In all fairness, I do appreciate like different people have paved the way in regards of inspirations and stuff like that. So like motivational speakers, etc. like that. But it's like that things like that don't inspire me as much. It's versions of events that inspire me, like being in right now in the moment. That's always been something that's inspired me, and that's been a current inspiration for me in regards of
in regards to a lot of things.
Okay.
Like, I want to say I'm trying to like go around it in a clean way. There's no clean way of going around it. It's a really strong, motivational and inspirational movie, and to see like the hard work, the dedication and graft that's gone into it. It's made me want to work even more for what I want as well.
Okay, so I've got to go watch that film.
You have to watch it.
I think I'm going to watch it this weekend.
It's not even a joke.
That's inspirational. That's good. That's good feedback then. So
it's awesome.
Okay, that's something different. To be fair, I would have thought you would have said something about more home, family-wise. To be fair, but
I'm always around them. I can easily say it's easy to say that my dad's my inspiration because he is. Everybody, yeah. I do have a lot of different people that I look up to, and in different areas, but they're just like they're components in making yourself the inspiration, if you get what I mean. So they add something to who you're becoming. So it's like it's good to have like those people around you where you can like they can give you something in regards for you to grow. It's like they bounce off you, you bounce off them. It's good energy, but there's nobody like who I can think of who's like predominantly my inspiration.
Fair enough.
Who I aspire to be. Like I've got so many different people that, I've got so much respect for.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay, another question is, why do you think the Ideas to Reality project is good for young people?
I think it's good for young people because we need more innovators. So we need more kids that aren't afraid to push barriers. Yeah. And it always starts young. If you can implement, or instill knowledge into these kids while they're still young, that they can do anything, that they can do whatever they want to do in life, and still be content and happy, they're going to live a very fruitful life. So it's like, I think this project that you've got going on I think it's quite crucial, especially in secondary schools, where, although kids might not know what they want to do, you're giving them an idea that they can do anything that they want to do. Yeah,
because like you said, you had that foundation around you. You're talking about you had the entrepreneur side, people who know business in your family, but not everyone's going to have that. From a child that is in school, maybe an area where they're not around that. Then they may need something like this.
It's definitely something that's needed. I mean, if you it gets them excited, and even like giving them ideas on how to set up a business and stuff like that. Like kids thrive off stuff like that. I mean, like my friend, her son, he thrives off, me speaking about like the business to him, and it's made him want to do his own business and his own t-shirt company, and like he's thinking how he can sell t-shirts at his school. I don't think it's possible, but he's going to make it possible.
He's going to make it possible to look for ways.
Yeah, definitely. There's means and ways around it. I remember being at school and selling my ICT gear. Yeah, I used to build computers for like, my friends' parents. Back in school, there was also always a hustle, and if you create that community within the school, like you're giving them life skills before they're reaching
in life.
They're actually in that situation. So do it young, start them young, definitely.
Okay, cool. Well, that is the end of the interview. Give everyone your social media links. So I mean, don't say it, we'll put it down at the bottom, as you do, put it down at the bottom. But make sure everyone goes and follows Stephen Arthur, follow his movement. He's doing big things, as you've already heard, and he's going to be doing a lot more. So before we actually finish, I want to do a quick fire question video, which we don't tell you about. On the spot answers.
Okay then.
So
cool.
It's nothing too pressuring. Okay, so Sweden or UK?
Sweden.
Menswear, women's wear?
Menswear.
High-end fashion or high street fashion?
High-end.
Instagram or Snapchat? Come on.
Insta.
Okay. Corporate high-paid job or self-employed?
Self-employed all the way.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the end of the interview, and thank you for coming. I know it took you long enough, but
yeah, man.
Good interview. So yeah, that's the end of episode 4, and make sure you catch us for the next episode. Thank you for watching episode 4. Obviously, you've heard Stephen Arthur's story, all the things he's done, going from a Microsoft engineer to a headline fashion designer. Make sure you tune in to episode 5, where we'll be interviewing more entrepreneurs and brands and whatnot. Make sure you subscribe to the channel below, and I'll see you soon.